Okay.
5, 4, 3.
It's the first key of the day.
Welcome, one and all, to the theater of pain! It seems these upstarts think they can compete with the best conventional malpractice!
Frontal.
I'll believe it when I see
Debuffs.
it! Either way, this should prove entertaining! Bring in the challengers!
Huge. Don't even get a second tantrum. That's really good.
Debuffs. Debuffs. Frontal.
Set my focus marker for Sathel. There's no other cast to interrupt, so there's no reason not to.
Frontal. AoE. Dance. Debuffs. Debuffs. Frontal.
Little trick for my fellow blood DKs. You can pre-AMS. Searing death every time. And that just pretty much will just help prevent accidental overlaps and murdering everyone, you know?
Debuffs. Dance. Debuffs. Debuffs. Frontal.
Now, normally,
Frontal.
you use Bone Storm on cooldown, especially during Dancing Rune Weapon. Because I know that the RP is coming up after this specific pool,
Dance.
what we're going to do instead is we're going to keep Bone Storm and we're going to use it to gain Bone Shield stacks. And basically just make sure we don't lose them between the pools here. So like you can see the RP is going to cause us to lose them.
What a disappointment!
We're about to get pulled up. And I'll just go ahead and use my Bone Storm now. I lose out on some damage, but I still get the CDR, which is why I popped Dancing Rune Weapon towards the end there.
Preliminaries are over. The real trials can begin!
And it just means I'm not, like, fighting to maintain stacks, pretty much.
New challenges. We'll see how long you can last.
Dodge. Dodge.
Too far away.
Dodge.
We're gonna pop Vamp Blood for that one, alongside Lichborn.
Dodge. Dodge.
Now, Dancing Rune Weapon actually does most of the work during Savage Flurry, if you have it up.
Dodge.
The only issue with this guy is you don't have a good way to, like, keep it up. So we used Combustible there.
Dodge.
And we're okay using consumption outside of Dancing Rune Weapon here. Because this guy deals so much damage, it's just not... It's not worth risking it for the extra, like,
Dodge.
throughput, I would say. Okay.
3, 2, 1.
We control the Arbalest there just long enough to guarantee that we don't have any issues. The reason that we release him after the captain is because that's when he loses his, like, damage buff from the captain itself. So there's just not really much reason to worry about it.
Three, two, one.
Make it through fine. Don't get to keep our Essence of the Blood Queen. Sucks, but hey.
You had best make this interesting. Crawl before the storm.
Dancing Rune Weapon can parry this, which makes it not like a bad defensive as an option there.
Frontal. Dodge. Dodge.
I forgot I didn't have Death's Advance. I was in that intentionally. Wanted to maintain uptime, but obviously if you don't have Death's Advance, you're kind of just taking damage for no reason. Go ahead and use Dancing Rune Weapon here. We're going to try and burst this banner down as quick as we can.
Frontal. Dodge.
Banner's down.
Dodge.
Use my Combustible here.
Dodge. Frontal.
One thing that a lot of people seem to find interesting about my Deathbringer video, or about my Darkflame video, was the fact that I was playing Deathbringer. I guess it's worth mentioning that it's kind of contextual. Darkflame isn't a difficult key. You could probably get away with using Sandlane in it. I went Deathbringer because I hadn't yet done many 17s. I wasn't sure if I was ready for the shift in damage profile, or like in damage. So I went with Deathbringer. Deathbringer has significantly more defensive power than Sandlane does. That's not even up for debate. It just does. But Sandlane has a lot more damage output, and it tends to be worth it to play Sandlane for that reason. There's a little bit of a there's a couple of things that change with that though. The first thing is Sandlane requires you to be playing a lot better. It also requires you to be very good at micromanaging your buffs. Whenever I initially started, like, raiding this season, for example, I was frequently within, like, gray parse or green parse level for eye level. Part of that was because I had just such a high eye level. But another part of that is that there were a lot of people who just understood Sandlane better than me. I didn't understand things like the consumption interaction. I didn't understand the value of Essence of the Blood Queen. And I mean, realistically, I could have just fucking read, but I'm a Death Knight. I don't know how to read. So yeah, anyways, my point is, I think both are good. I think Sand Lane is better in keys where you're comfortable, you don't think you're gonna die. Uh, and I think that Deathbringer is better in keys where you are, what's the word? Deathbringer is better sometimes in keys where you are either not comfortable or in keys where you need to get aggro very quickly. So my go-to example would be like Cinderbrew. Lots of new spawning mobs during that key, and it actually causes a lot of issues if you aren't prepared for it. I guess, for example, um, the hobgoblins, they're just constantly spawning new monsters, and that's fine, kind of. I mean, I don't like it, but it's handleable. But if you don't have, if you don't have the ability to get the aggro ready, then it can really hurt you. Now we have beam up. Starting to run a little bit dry here. I think we're okay. A little close. I ended up dropping Bone Shield. That's another buff that you need to manage while you need to manage effectively while playing Sand Lane. Bone Shield's a little easier, but you know, you don't really think about it, but Deathbringer doesn't really manage Bone Shield stacks. Like, your procs with Deathbringer, they prefer you to have they prefer you to use, like, Marrow Rend frequently. Whereas Sand Lane, it's significantly less so. You're trying your best to minimize the amount of Marrow Rend that you're casting. I don't think it really makes a difference. I could have done this faster. I'm a pussy. Yeah, no, Sand Lane wants you to minimize the amount that you're, like, building up Bone Shield stacks, because you just need to get as many Heart Strike procs as possible. I think both are good. Both are valid. But they're, like, different. They're different characters. They're different types entirely. Now we're coming down here. We're not pulling the second set, because we want this Sludge Spewer down ASAP before we do anything. Sludge Spewer is the most dangerous mob in here by far. Oh, the Gas Bag is the most dangerous, but the Sludge Spewer is up there for sure. The Sludge Spewer down, we're pretty much free to pull the Gas Bag. These Leapers hurt quite a bit, so I'm going to put out an AMZ, help out my party with living. I'm going to move a little further in. I kind of running out of space here, you know? But that's like one of the key things about playing any tank, really, is your responsibility is you're setting up your players or your team to have the least chance of failure, even if they're not playing their best. Which is like a weird thing, but like it's a fundamental tenet of being a tank, I'd say. I'm gonna pop Dancing Rune Weapon. I don't want anyone else to feel the need to use cooldowns on this Gas Bag. And then, once that pack is dead, once that Gas Bag is dead, we are okay to move forward. Now, I have a stack of Decaying Strike here. That disease reduces your maximum HP. I also don't have Foul Bulwark this key because I wanted to have Tightening Grasp, which means that I have to be very careful whenever that disease has been applied. So the way that I sort of managed that is I just used my Trinket for that. Icebound Fortitude for the next Tenderizing Smash. You can parry Decaying Strike. You can also AMS it if you're paying attention. So it is not like a difficult thing to handle if you got your head on the swivel. Now, this boss in particular isn't the most scary for a tank. It isn't free though. You need to be using your defensives, especially if you're not taking Foul Bulwark, because as you can see, my max HP, even with Rune Tap there, I was pretty low. Like it was a little spooky. You know, we're not trying to accidentally cause anyone to fail here. So I guess one thing that I thought would be interesting to talk about is the difference between Sanlena's Blood and the difference between Sanlena's Unholy. Unholy recently got its Blood Beast nerfed to be pretty much the same damage as ours is, like, as the amount that it's going to store. It's going to naturally deal more just because of the fact that Unholy deals more damage and Blood Beast works by storing your shadow damage dealt. But one of the things that sort of leads to is, you know, a lot of people are like, oh shit, is Unholy doomed? Is it no longer good? And I would say no. There's a few reasons for that. The first is that while Blood Beast is still like a significant portion of damage for Unholy, it's not the fucking monolith that it is for Blood. Sand Lane, Blood Beast for Blood, perhaps a little bit fittingly, is like kind of insane. It deals when it procs well, it deals by far the most damage for us. If you look at like an Unholy breakdown though, and like a Cinder Brew, there's a good chance that they're like out damaging it with things like Epidemic if they're playing correctly. It's not like a it's not like they're one source of damage or anything like that by any means. Which is kind of like an interesting dynamic, I guess. You know, we tend to like put ourselves in a weird position of believing that one nerf is easily going to be enough to make a class just like that. That can be the case. It's not that it can't happen. By the way, I used Bone Storm there. Once again, making sure that I can keep up my Bone Shield stacks without pulling ahead. I want everyone to be here. Okay. This guy's catching up. Getting a little bit of, what's the word? Blood boil action? Yeah. Oh, here's a quick little tip, by the way. If you take Tightening Grasp, the way that I had in this key, normally not a necessary talent, by the way. But if you take Tightening Grasp, you need to make sure that whoever you use it on is not immune to silence. So if I were to use it on this Portal Guardian, for example, it wouldn't actually do anything to stop him. I know that's like kind of dumb. That is just how it is right now. I would consider that to be a bug. Because it won't... In theory, you would think that it should stop everyone that can be silenced. You know, it should silence everyone that can be. even if not everyone can. And that's true if your main target is a character that can be silenced. If not, though, it just doesn't care. It's like, okay, well, that's not my problem. Can't silence it, boss. So just be aware of that. It's easy to not think about. This next pool is the #1 killer of pugs, I would say. So we're going to try and keep it a little bit more simple. We are going to control this bone mages. Now, after this, we see that the group's got a mass silence going on. It means there's no need for me to use mine. And we're just going to let these soulbinders sort of whittle down. Now I'm going to silence them. It's fine for me to get bone speared here. I'll let them handle this. I get one kick there.
Dodge. 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 Dodge.
Now, this is actually one of the most chill pools, in my opinion. I think this is just like vibing. As long as they don't waste their kicks, it's very hard to die on here. And as long as they don't, you know, kick death ones. Not see you. I'm not going to bother explaining why I'm not going to control undead to them. But pretty much what it comes down to is control undead, in this dungeon especially, can be really buggy. I want to use it.
Dodge.
I want to use control undead as like a way to reduce the amount of kicks in the group. I try not to use it as something that I expect to get like consistent damage value out of. I know that seems a little weird, like a strange way to handle it, because those don't get me wrong, bone mages do a lot of damage, but basically what it comes down to is with this route, if that bone mage dies, or not dies, if that bone mage disappears or like goes back to the platform, you do not time. That seems a little harsh, but no, that bone mage is the very last piece to the puzzle of getting perfect percent. So losing it, key's over. You can kind of get away with it maybe on like a lower one, but in a 17, even if it's not your fault, even if it bugs out, you have ended the key. So I don't use it. Not for that purpose anyways. Control undead's a good way to stop kicks. It's best used, I guess, like a demon hunter in prison. If anything.
Debuffs. Ends.
Anyways, that's sort of my TED talk on that.
Orbs. Debuffs.
Oh, he dies. Torch. I can get him back up, though. Ideally, I think I should AMZ that for him.
Debuffs. Ends. Orbs. Debuffs.
Move over here basically to guarantee that no one has a necrotic eruption issue. Realistically, it's not that hard to avoid, but like I said, I want to reduce the amount that players can mess up, because especially in these stressful, like, high-level keys where one mistake can ruin everything, it really is better safe than sorry. Like, I'm not losing time by this.
Ends. Orbs. Debuffs.
Perhaps I can make use of you later.
Unfortunately, we just didn't have a kick for that. Not using Bark Skin during Well of Darkness, really, really
Debuffs.
dangerous game to play. Yeah, he has it this time.
Ends. Orbs. Debuffs.
One problem with this, though, is it does mean that we have used pretty much all of our B-reses on this guy. Fortunately, I don't fall. That would have been really fucking awkward.
Challenges have conquered the trials and advanced to the final round! Return to the central chamber. It's time to begin the main event! Soldiers of Maldraxxus! Are you ready for some carnage? A rising stars now face the longest reigning champion the Theater of Pain has ever known! Lord Rappa, the Endless Empress!
I want to pull this onto the boss. I do not, however, want to accidentally despawn her, which can happen, by the way. Which is why I take a little bit of time there to be safe.
My magic reaches beyond your mortal ken. Death itself demands your souls.
Get a nice little silence out there.
My magic reaches beyond your mortal ken.
This boss is a pretty comfortable one for us.
Death
Now, one thing that I could have done is actually, I could have AMS'd the Manifest Death. And it would actually allow me to still have it for the Reaping Scythe as well. That's what I'm going to try and do here. At the end of the Dark Devastation is when your window is. She takes a sec, and then now you can. And that should give me just enough time to reduce the damage of Reaping Scythe there.
Reality turns its ire against you.
Rune Tap does work on this specific boss, I would say.
You shall be swept into oblivion. Your wanton slaughter will be returned tenfold.
Just remind them that we need a defensive for that. We don't have less for another 54 seconds, so it'll be pretty late.
My magic reaches beyond your mortal ken. Death itself demands your souls.
And then I can
Dodge.
use this right about here. A little tidbit of advice here. Even if the timeline says that she's going to use Reaping Scythe on you sooner, she always does it after Manifest Death. Which is why I felt comfortable holding my AMS. I know it sounds weird. It is kind of a scary thing as well. If you're not comfortable with the timers on this fight, then do not do it, I would say. I'll put out an AMZ here, because I know that this fight hurts quite a bit.
You shall be swept into oblivion.
Dodge.
Also could have AMS'd that one. Shouldn't really matter, though. GG. And there you go. Congratulations, I have now shown you how to beat Theater of Pain 17. And with a few deaths at that.
All hail the new champions of the arena! Victory and glory are yours! May you fight forever!
Give them a big smiley face there. I got a friend request. Don't know who this is, but sure. Oh, I'm getting some friend requests. Nice. Very cool. The mage left a little bit a little bit too quick for me to use that portal, but it's okay. Baited by port. Oh, yo. What is the 18 here? 18 Priory? I don't know if I'm ready for that one, boss. It's all good. That puts me... What? We have a nice little Typher group, then. Let's look for a 17. Another one off of my list. Hi, Bean. Hi. What's the matter, baby? Ooh, holy shit, my back just crunched. Hey, hey, hey. Jesus. Everyone's got a theater of pain now that I've finished mine, huh? Hey, what's up, Isla Bailey? Thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. I'm doing all right, though. Usually, this leads to a spiel about art. Pleasure is mine. I just have to, know if this is a bot. I think I actually just a couple of days ago I had someone where it's like thought I was having a yeah. Here we go. How's my streaming going so far? Mm-hmm. Ready for the art advert? Oh shit! Are you real? My bad. My bad. I'm not gonna lie. I've had a very common thing that people do. How are you doing? How's your streaming? How's your streaming going? And then they like, and then they tell you, buy my art. Sorry, man. You'd be surprised how many messages are formatted that way. It does make it kind of hard to tell them apart. All right, take care. Sorry about that. You fool. We're all fools. Okay. I've unfollowed you. That's how it goes, man. Let me see here. It's the Bailey. Now, I'm not gonna say I told you so, but I look at their profile. Looks like an awful lot of streamer art. Not exactly losing sleep. That's part of the thing, right? Like, I'm not trying to be mean, but it's very rare that someone pops into chat with questions like that and has no ulterior motives. It can happen, don't get me wrong, and I don't want to discount that, but also it's rare. It's pretty damn rare. I'm going, you fool. Don't get me wrong, I know that art is like a difficult a difficult space to make money in. But I also don't have like patience for people trying to manipulate me, you know? At least not normally. Sometimes I do, if I like you. 35, 36. Resovoker. Pretty rare. Damn. Hard play in blood right now. Guess we'll just have to list our own key, huh? Munchie Mike. I'll take a Red Paladin. Give it a try. Give it a whirl. Do that. Should be able to do all this. Not literally at once, but hey. Here. 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 Ooh, let me actually get those. That. Get these two. Yeah, I mean, that should work. It's a little less efficient than some other options, but hey. I don't hate a Mark Hunter here. Deals a decent amount of damage. I'm gonna change my shirt real quick. Be right back while I wait on some people. Welcome back. Have to sit down. Hi, Bean. Okay, girl. It's not that I necessarily hate having a Resto Shaman here. I just kind of need something to skip the second last pack. I'd rather not have to use, like, invis pots or anything like that. Priest is a good, consistent way to skip that pack. I get Demon Hunter. I don't think I want this guy.
The Rustbolt Resistance needs you! Repel Mechagon's forces and help put an end to his
So,
machinations.
do we want to win this? Get a nice little repair done there. Let's see. We are doing Scorpion's Grasp, Consumption. No control undead here. And then anything that I need still. No, we should be good. Okay. Countdown incoming.
Five, four, three, two, one.
In order to stop my father, we need to infiltrate the city itself. And that means passing through.
A Robodrome.
Wait, what's this? Some surface dwellers have
Well,
unwittingly stumbled into the arena. A word of caution to anyone sitting in the splash.
someone didn't read.
Watch out for blood!
I choose not to, what's the word? I choose not to pull this entire room at once, which most people do not like that. That's not their preference. A lot of people prefer to just do the big Galunka pull, hope for the best. In my case, I'm playing a Blood DK. We do not have a balanced druid. We cannot pull that large. Also, our AoE is capped. We have a marksman hunter. It would just be silly.
The city's entrance is located just past this arena. You must hold your ground until we can clear a path to it.
No sweat, pal. I'm putting 20 large on no mercy.
Dodge. AoE.
Won't we be dead?
If I can't bet on a sure thing, then I ain't really living.
We did just barely drop stacks for this fight, which is why we struggled so much at the start here.
Bait. Dodge. AoE. Charge.
Set him up to pull out Deuce.
Remove plating.
Gadgets and cogs!
We've got a highly unusual development. Looks like yours truly has joined the tussle.
AoE.
But not to worry. I'll stop at nothing to give you the play-by-play.
Dodge. Bait. AoE. Charge. Remove plating. AoE. Dodge. Bait. Charge. AoE.
After he pummels me, I'm gonna go through there, pop one of those mines.
Remove plating. AoE.
And then I get plating removed, and we're chilling.
Bait. AoE. Charge. AoE.
Come over here.
Dodge. Remove
Activate this.
bait.
Plating is down, we're chilling. Easy clap-a-thon.
Charge. AoE. AoE.
But we're still throwing them out with the trash!
AoE.
I'm out of range.
AoE.
It's too far away.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Demon Hunter.
Out of range. I don't have a target. I need to get closer. I'm out of range.
We don't have Mass Dispel, so I'm not gonna pull the dogs like an insane person.
Far away.
Yeah. Do this. Accidentally trolled the dispel there.
Find safe spot.
I got a little distracted responding. Oh my.
Get dispelled. Fox incoming. Leap. Get dispelled. Find safe spot. Fox incoming. Leap. Get dispelled. Find safe spot. Get dispelled. Fox incoming. Leap. Find safe spot.
Pretty chill. Getting those Cujo vibes, you know how it is.
Get dispelled. Fox incoming. Leap. Get dispelled. Find safe spot.
Always try to get like one death strike in before you go over so you don't drop Coagulo.
Fox incoming. Leap. Get dispelled.
I'm not using Depth Advance as I walk up here. I'd rather just keep it for whenever I'm on the platform itself. Make it over, and we're good.
Warning, excessive levels of flesh.
That gentleman has started the RP for me. What a beast. What a legend.
Please remain in your domiciles. Guards are currently en route to quell the disturbance.
You never expect me to just kill the squirrel outright. Because I shouldn't. I bet Monk Touch of Death goes crazy on that.
You dismantled a few of my lesser inventions.
Let them know that I'll AMZ the short circuit.
AoE.
it will prove insufficient against my newest
Frontal.
prototype.
Damn, that guy's all head. Fuck. You ever look in there?
Frontal.
He's become one with the fucking tank. He's not even in the seat anymore.
Frontal. Find safe.
Ugh.
Frontal. 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 Find safe spot. Frontal. Frontal.
Sparklocks! The invaders have made it past the outer defenses. I want their stench removed from my city.
I have activated all civic defenses, my king. Rest assured, these organisms will be expunged from our metropolis.
Warning. Excessive levels of flesh detected. Warning.
I'm not gonna pretend like this group's high art. But hey, if we get the job done.
Shield. Shield.
Welcome to my garden, trespassers!
Saw blade incoming.
My
Swap.
roses are of the highest
Avoid.
caliber! If you can't handle the heat, stay out of my garden!
Saw blade incoming. Avoid. Avoid. Saw blade incoming.
My
Swap.
roses are of the highest caliber! If you
Beam.
can't handle the heat, stay out of my garden!
Unfortunate there. Fortunately, our hunter should be able to handle it. I choose to go this way just to be safe with my melee.
Saw blade incoming. Avoid.
My
Swap.
roses are of the highest caliber!
Beam. Saw blade incoming.
Use a trim!
Avoid.
I'm surprised he lived that, I'm not gonna lie.
Avoid. Saw blade incoming.
Use the trim! My
Swap.
roses are of the highest.
Frontal. Frontal.
We have darkness here.
Frontal. 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 Frontal.
We can commandeer that transport to access Mechagon's tower.
Frontal.
So, my misguided son returns. I'm impressed you
Made it this far.
You are no longer my father. Just a malfunctioning machine that must be shut down.
Poor child. If only you could accept the truth. The curse of flesh has run rampant across Azeroth, and I will replace it with mechanical purity.
Shield. Shield. AoE. AoE. Shield. AoE. AoE. Shield. AoE. AoE.
Out of range. I need a target. It's too far away.
AoE. Shield.
And there's only one way we time this, and it's doing this, so...
False charging.
You
Frontal.
cannot elude my targeting systems.
I hope he had something.
False charging. AoE.
You
Frontal.
cannot elude my targeting systems.
AoE. Run out.
Activating thruster.
Beam.
Gotta have something. Fuck me, he lives.
Targeting systems.
Balls charging. Run out.
Activating thrusters.
Beam. Frontal.
Cannot elude my targeting systems.
Balls charging. Frontal.
Cannot elude my targeting systems.
Balls charging. Run out.
Activating thrusters.
Beam.
You
Frontal.
cannot elude my targeting systems.
Balls charging.
I won't lie. This is largely going to be related to luck here.
Targeting systems.
Or was largely related to luck. I don't know if we time, but that was the only way that we had a chance, I would say.
Run out.
Activating thrusters.
Beam. Frontal.
Cannot elude my targeting systems.
Balls charging. Frontal.
Cannot elude my targeting systems.
Balls charging. Run out.
Activating thrusters. You
Phasing.
think you have defeated. All you have done is dismantle a piece of furniture. You wish to test my true ordnance? I will happily oblige. Cannon
Frontal.
fully charged.
Frontal. Frontal.
Magnetic grapple engaged.
Pull.
All power to weapons.
Frontal. Frontal.
All power
Frontal.
to weapons.
Frontal. Frontal.
Total protonic reversal. Magnetic grapple engaged.
Your survival wasn't necessary.
Thank you for helping
Nice try.
me calibrate my weapon.
Ooh. Walk around real quick. Get a few steps in more. feel I may as well, you know, apply to keys and shit while I'm, or clean while I'm applying to keys. Not like I lose anything for doing so. Get a couple more applications in, if there's anything to apply to. Nope. Okay. You ever notice how much noise these goofy ass guys make? Well, not having much luck with pugging. Probably just gonna end the stream for now while I clean.